Okay.
A little bit of chocolate. Well, you made sure you didn't run out of chocolate, didn't you?
Huh?
You made sure you wasn't going to run out of chocolate.
I don't know who. I never buy that big one. Mike probably did. I never go to the store. You know that. I don't have a car.
I was telling Dave about how I was asking you about what it was like when you were a kid and stuff, and how things have changed. And
How things have changed?
Yeah, like...
You want me to tell him?
Well, I just was curious. I mean, you grew up...
You tell me a question.
Okay, you grew up in Indy, right? I mean...
Indianapolis.
Okay, so what was it like when you went to school as a kid? I mean...
Well, very nice, because we lived right next door to it. And
you did?
The bell could ring, and I could be this side of the fence, and I'd be at school.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, on Main Street.
How many kids were in your class?
Oh, heavens. I imagine they run around 35, something like that.
Okay.
Oh, that's a lot more than I thought.
So it was a one-room school?
A what?
One-room school, like the little kids were with the big kids?
Oh, no, I'm just like yours.
Yeah.
No, we had big first grader class because we filled a room full of first graders.
Who was president when you were in first grade?
Me.
Not class president. President of the U.S.
Idea.
What year was that? Well, I'll tell you. It was... Guess we could look it up. Okay. You were born in 17.
Yeah, the war ended.
17, so you would have been 6, so it would have been 23 or so in kindergarten, first grade, right?
I don't keep record. And I know you're taping.
We're not taping.
Aren't you taping me?
No, I'm not.
It's not tape. We don't
Well,
use
it's
tape.
not tape. Yeah, those are good old days.
Your great-grandkids are going to want to know all about you and everything about your life.
Tell them I cut my finger off.
Oh, tell the story.
And my boys,
Tell that story.
I said, Grandma pooped up there.
Tell the story about your finger.
Well, we were in Hartsville where Grandma Hall lives. And there's a beautiful rocky, what do they call it? Used to be a college in that area, but it was gone. But they called it the campus. I think they called it campus. And we would go up there, and by it was a river, or a creek. Not a river, but it was shallow. And water would come down, but it was all rock bottom and mossy. And we wanted to dam up a little place. And Daisy and Mira and I, we wanted to dam up a place so we could wade more. And so we started getting rocks, and I always had to have a big one. And started walking with this big one, and I slipped on the moss, and it went right there.
Okay, so you fell down?
Huh?
You slipped on the moss and fell down and dropped the rock that you were carrying?
I was carrying, it fell on my finger, and just a nerve was hanging this much, and then they had surgery. They broke the knuckle.
Wow.
It's handy.
Yeah.
As you boys always make me do.
Yeah.
That never affected my life too much.
Well, I remember you saying you went on a horse and buggy. They took you to horse and buggy one.
One time, in Breckenridge, Missouri, Grandma Hall lived there. And the church wasn't too far from her house. Had to go way down that way, but they had horse and buggy. And the horse's name was Queenie.
Really?
And we did in that buggy and go to church.
Wow.
Now that's weird.
Okay, so it didn't have a top over it, or it did?
Yeah, the one they used for church, it had a top. But it was just a one-seater. But it had a top to it.
Trying to imagine what that looks like.
Can't you imagine?
Like an old Conestoga wagon?
Oh, no, It was nice looking.
Um,
And the church was just down about a block and a half.
did you always have a telephone growing up? You always had that, didn't you? No?
I had to join the telephone company in order to get it going.
Seriously?
No. No, when I was little, Aunt Rosie, I don't know, Bash family, they had a phone, you had to crank it.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
They were in the country in Shelbyville or Greenfield.
Was that the first phone that you knew about?
I mean, that's, because they were in the country, and then they, oh, we've got nice ones here. But I worked at the telephone company, so we got a telephone in my name.
So that helped you get a phone?
No, anybody could have a phone. It just got it cheaper.
Oh, okay.
So you couldn't take pictures with it, I'm guessing.
Huh?
The phone? You couldn't take pictures with it. No?
Not that far back.
Yeah.
Okay,
Things
so
they weren't all that different from now. Cars were probably. We had a touring car, no windows, things in it that had canvas and isinglass space. You know what that is?
No.
Something like glass, only it's flexible. And,
Okay, like plexiglass.
and if it started raining, well, we'd have to put those in.
we
Snapped on.
Yeah.
you was talking about that isinglass.
What?
You was talking about that isinglass before, and I looked it up. It's actually made out of a certain kind of stone that they cut real thin. Before they made glass very common.
I'm glad you looked at it. I didn't. I just know isinglass is what it was made of.
Yeah, it was called. Okay, so you had a phone since you were a little tiny girl. That wasn't.
No, not really. I mean, I think we had our first phone when I went telephone company.
Oh, okay.
Because I got it cheaper.
And a TV came along when?
No, that was, we got TV at Teresa's age. We did. They came on before that.
So you got a TV at what point?
Huh?
How old were you when you got your first TV?
Well, Teresa
Already married.
married.
All the way had her third child before
When
they
she
got
was
TV.
Oh. Oh, okay. So that would have been, let's see,
Oh,
Teresa was
I'm
born
not
in
good
49, right?
Let's see,
Mom
she
was born in 39 and she's 10 years older.
49.
Yeah. Huh, okay. So what did your dad, Byron, do for a living?
He worked everything when we were, I don't remember the years, but he never was without a job. He got one wherever, he always kept one whether it
Well,
lasted long.
What kind of work though?
Well, he worked at big four shops, last, and all the last.
Big Four is the railroad company right here in Beech
You
Grove.
didn't
Oh.
know that?
No.
That road that we drove
Yeah,
coming
yeah,
over
yeah.
here is called Big Four Road.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I would get up in the morning and Mom would need the car, so I'd be in my gown or my pajamas and I'd drive Dad to work and come back just a mile down.
And you were how old?
Yes, about 12 or 13.
You drive the car at
Didn't
12?
have to have a license then.
Oh, wow.
Or seat belts.
Huh?
Or seat belts probably, or anything
Oh.
like that.
No, I don't even think we had license at that time.
Wow.
Do you remember the old Oldsmobile that we had? The red and white one?
Yeah.
I was telling Dave, I remember riding back in that little cubby hole in the back window.
Yeah.
Oh, they put you in jail for that ride today if they saw somebody letting their little kid do that.
You remember that, huh?
Oh, yeah. I also remember felt so lucky to get a helicopter and one of the prizes inside a cereal box, or Cracker Jack box it was, I think.
A toy, what do you mean?
A little toy inside,
Not a
you know,
real
a
one.
Cracker Jack box. And I was playing with it in that little cubby hole in the back of the car, and the wind blew, and it went right around the back of the window and out the other window.
The airplane?
Yeah, it blew right out, and I was so upset.
Oh.
I remember it to this day.
Oh. Who's driving?
Oh, probably Dad. He'd probably go faster than you.
He would. He wouldn't stop and get that.
No, he wouldn't stop.
So
to get
what
that.
about the house on Banta Road when my grandpa built it? Where were you living at the time? Next door with Grandma Detterman?
I didn't get the first one.
Okay, so the Banta Road house. That
Grandma had it first. She had that one house, an older house. And
right.
Jim and I lived with her.
Oh, okay. And then he built the house next door from.
We built two of them, one for Charlie and one
Oh,
for
okay.
Jim.
So Charlie's was Smith's house, or the other side of.
Ours was right next to Mom, and then Charlie's.
Okay.
The Smith's
Okay,
house.
Where Smith's lived.
2 acres.
Okay.
Okay, 2 acres. Dad
So you
did.
built them at the same time.
Well, Grandma said, let's let Dad Detterman
Yeah.
build Chuck's first, because she said little Chuck's hard to handle. Because the sooner they got built, why? Now that was her story, whether that was
Yeah.
it. But, so we got ours built second.
It's just amazing to me and so many other people how much you have seen changed from the time you were a little girl to right now.
And yet it doesn't. It's so gradual, you know.
Yeah.
Right.
Don't realize it. We lived on Trowbridge.
On what?
Trowbridge.
That's a street name.
That's around Prospect, off of Prospect,
Yeah, I remember seeing Trowbridge.
and we lived there. And then they built that boulevard through there, Greenville.
So you grew up in Indianapolis. I mean, you were born into here,
That's always where we lived.
except for Arkansas.
Until I moved away.
Yeah.
Arky. Became an old Arky.
An Arky from the Snarky.
Yeah. Are you sure he won in the sun?
Yeah.
He's from Texas. He's used to it being 90 degrees.
Right.
My toe, I don't care
Plus-
if it gets in it.
So what? Everything happened gradual. So what was the biggest change that you noticed in your growing up to this time that was maybe kind of shocking or big difference?
When we moved to Beach Grove, everything was. I started my first grade. That's when we moved to Beach Grove.
Okay.
And for a few days we had to drive from where we lived because we hadn't moved into our new house.
But a TV was probably a big change.
And we got one when Teresa was
How many stations did they have on the TV when you first got television?
169.
What?
169.
No, don't think so.
I don't know.
Well, you had
WFPM, and we could get WLW, Cincinnati, and a couple others.
When I grew up, there was 4, like 4, 6, 8, 13,
Yeah.
and then a UHF channel 20 or 40 or something.
20 and 40.
And that was about it. And then cable TV came out.
And everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a changed the world, I think.
Yeah, not necessarily for the
Lives.
better,
Huh?
but probably not necessarily for the better. I guess it gave us entertainment, but it kind of took away from
Family
doing
getting
family
together.
things.
Yeah.
Because what did you do? Like you said, you and your sisters would go down to the creek and you'd do stuff together like that and have fun. So before
Well, we
TV,
that creek down there at Maine, at the school, you know, it was deep. We had a place called 8 foot. It was more like 6, or it wasn't 8 foot, I know, but they called it 8 foot or 6 foot. I may be wrong.
but
It's a couple of feet.
it was a deep hole anyway,
Yeah, they had one place that was kind of deep.
and you'd swim in it.
Yeah. And we could go in the other and wade around and have fun right down there.
So what else would you girls do for fun before television and all that?
A lot of things. Games. 1, 2, 3, red light.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. Even at my age, I remember that.
And we had a used to be a chicken house, but it got all cleaned. And Dad had it for a bench. Dad Detterman, or Saunders, had it for a workbench, and then they cleaned it all up good, and we had it for a playhouse. And one time, Mom and Dad had a bunch from their church, Methodist church, and we three practiced a play, and then we called them down, and they came down to watch it. And they had a quartet at the Methodist church that were called the Ton Quartet, because each was big, 4 of them singing, but they were heavy, so they called them the Ton Quartet. And
the Tons of Fun?
Huh?
Was that the same ones, the Tons of Fun?
no, but,
That's a different one.
and so they came out, and we had practiced a little show, and
No, I'm adjusting my thing here. So when you grew up, was there all white people? Was everybody white around you? White people, Caucasian?
pretty much,
Yeah,
but there was a lot of, class.
right. So,
My dad was kind of, he was always talking to them and everything, but
talking
I
to
could
who?
always feel a little bit with him that he got over that.
Talking to who? What do you mean?
About blacks.
Yeah.
So back there, you kind of had a division.
Right. Well, it's arguable that there's still a division, but I remember reading about and seeing a documentary in Indianapolis in 1963 or 64 where they had the colored drinking fountain and the white drinking. That was during my lifetime that they had two different. Well, I know it was yours, of course, but just to think that happened in while I was on this earth is astounding to me.
When I didn't notice it around home as much, but when we went on trips, they had a white toilet and a black.
Wow.
Yeah, that's too bad.
Drinking fountains, same way. Thank goodness that's over with.
Yeah. So you were, the society taught you to be prejudiced then, huh?
Well, they tried, it's whatever's in your heart, but you had to pass on to you.
Right.
So, my dad might have had a little. He was good to him, but only in a down way.
Right, right.
Which was pretty much the way then, a lot of people.
It was passed down from generation to generation to be that way, and it's very unfortunate.
Yeah.
But I think us as human beings, we try to grasp for higher levels and try to realize we're all human beings, and I think we're getting there.
I think so.
I think we
I
go
guess we
backwards
had a
and take 2
president.
steps forward. And
We had a what?
Black president.
Yeah?
Well, I think we passed. Wait a minute, there.
whew,
Bombs away.
no, don't say that, Mom.
Well, we've got something, and we say bombs away at a game we play.
Oh, yeah.
And it sounds like bombs away, but it isn't. It's a
So
beautiful
anyway,
day.
you've lived probably the most interesting life that a person could live. You've lived through a time without television
More changes.
and computers. You've seen a lot of changes.
When Teresa was little, that was the first TV time
Yeah.
for us.
And everybody just had one TV. Nobody had.
Probably.
Yeah.
And Dad and I built. I had to be the boy because he didn't have any. I had to be his helper,
Oh.
and pal, which was nice. But we'd make radios. Oh, we'd be downstairs in the basement and working at his bench and making a TV, or radio, I mean.
Oh, what, transistor?
Huh?
Did he have? What did he? How did he make it?
Oh, No, just he put all the parts together and.
It was a kit, or he just
Well, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
Surely he did.
on Gilligan's
Oh,
Island they
no.
made them out of coconuts.
Huh?
Gilligan's Island they make radios out of coconuts.
Who says so?
Yeah, you never saw Gilligan's Island?
No.
Huh?
Yeah,
Never
you
heard
remember
of that?
Gilligan's Island?
Oh.
Yeah.
The
Okay.
TV show?
Yeah, they made them out of coconuts. The professor always had something.
My hearing is not as good as it used to be.
That's all right.
That one needs a battery in it, no doubt. There is.
I can't believe how you fixed the place up. It really looks nice. This is nice. The flowers.
With the fence or screen in, it is nice. We never used it much. And this is big enough. Get any more people than that, you can't talk.
So you've got great great grandchildren, and I guess Angelina's the oldest of those, right? Joey's daughter.
How old is she?
She's like 9.
Yeah, I guess so, because our grandkids, the oldest is just 7.
Okay,
Yours.
but
Yeah.
that's your grandkids. You're the youngest of your generation, so
Okay,
that
right.
would be great grandkids. So I'm a generation
Great
behind
great.
you. Yeah, so she's got great great grandkids.
See, that's another thing with Mom. To have a child at 40 years old, that was me.
Oh right.
You know, that was...
That was painful.
I know. Well, I've always been a pain in your rear end.
Well, someplace. No more than anybody else.
Oh, okay. Thanks a lot.
I didn't cancel it.
So, I mean, the reason why I said that is because John is just months difference in age from me.
Right. Yeah,
He's my nephew.
Right. Yeah, and there's people that have uncles older than or younger than them and stuff like that.
Yeah, I
you know.
guess so, but...
Yeah, when we grew up, you were just one of the cousins, basically.
Yeah,
Chris and Jeff Rolfson and you and, you know.
right. Speaking of Banner Road again, and talking about family, okay, it was Emma Detterman, then our house next to them, then it was Charlie next to us.
Huh?
Charlie lived next to
Yeah,
us,
Uncle,
and then
Uncle
Sweeney's were relatives of ours too.
Uncle Sam.
Uncle Sam Sweeney, that lived in the next house down. So we were all one big family, all on Banner Road there. And I think that's the way it used to be. Everybody used to stay pretty close together, didn't they?
In the old days, it probably did. That was unusual to have that many.
Was it?
Well, Sam built after Mom and Dad and us. We moved in with them
Oh, did you?
until Dad was going to build Charlie's and our house. I mean,